My name is Hannah, and this is my no-buy year. I want you to take a minute and just guess in your mind how hot it was in Los Angeles today. The answer is 112 degrees. It was 112 degrees Fahrenheit. It's nighttime now and the sun has gone down, but it hasn't cooled off at all. It is so hot in our apartment, and honestly, I'm pretty much filming because it's too hot to sleep. It's too hot to do anything. But look what I have. This is my downstairs neighbor's kitten. We're taking care of him while they are in Mexico, and he lives down there. We didn't bring him up here the whole time, but we've been bringing him up here a couple of nights just to give him some excitement. Sadie is being extremely inhospitable. She doesn't really get along with cute kittens, apparently. He's been very brave and he keeps trying to make friends with her anyway, so it's been fun to have him running around our house. His name is Little One. His name is Little One. All right, now that I have black kitten hair stuck all over my sweaty face, it's time to get into my monthly favorites. Now, the point of doing favorites videos, even though I'm on a no-buy year, is to share that I have favorites that emerge from my own collection every month. So traditionally, a favorites video on YouTube has to do with sharing the favorites out of all of the new things that one has tried in the preceding month. But I'm not trying new things, with a few exceptions. A point perk here and there, a sample here and there, but really overall, I'm spending this entire year just using what I have. So I have a handful of things to share with you, all of which have been in my collection since the beginning of the year, but none of which became favorites until June. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. My first favorite is a skincare item. As many of you know, if you've watched my empties videos, I started out the year with just a little bit of cleanser in my first cleanse category, my oil cleanse category, and I've been having to replenish that category since February or March. But my second cleanse category, which are foaming, soaping, thorough second cleanses, the ones that go in and get everything off, that category was absolutely bloated with product at the beginning of the year. I had so many different kinds of second cleansers kicking around. This was one of them, and it was one that I had kind of forgotten about. It's the Mario Badescu Glycolic Foaming Cleanser, and it was kind of in the back of my cabinet, and I knew that I had a lot of second cleansers still yet to go through, but I had kind of forgotten about this one. So I started using it, and my skin has been so clear over the past month, maybe even longer. My skin suddenly just has been behaving beautifully. And I must say, as I speak these words, I have the first real pimple that I've had in a long time here on my cheek. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it isn't to say that my skin has been flawless or that I haven't had any breakouts. I've had a little bit of trouble spots here and there, but compared to what I usually deal with, it's just been so under control. I can't help but think that this might be the product that I have to thank for that, because I remember when I first got this bottle and I started going through it sometime last year, I also went through a period of time when my skin was particularly clear. But I got restless and I moved on to other cleansers and other products, and in the milieu, I kind of forgot that my clear skin had aligned with the time during which I had been using this product, because you kind of never know what hurts your skin, what helps your skin when you're constantly trying new things all the time, which is what I was doing. But now that I've had this second round with it and my skin cleared up again. I just feel like this is a firm favorite this month. I'm really, really glad that it resurfaced. I'm really glad that I've been using it. I've been using some other acids, and I am going to film my current skincare routine really soon for you guys. Like, it's on the list, it's coming up. So when I film that, I will share some of the other products in my routine that I think might be helping with my skin too. But this, I wouldn't be surprised if this had a lot to do with it. And I know that the cleansing stage of skincare is not the stage during which it's usually advisable to deploy your heavyweight ingredients like glycolic acid. Meaning, if I wanted to incorporate glycolic acid into my routine to help stave off acne, I wouldn't think to put it in a cleanser. I would think to go for a glycolic toner. But I wonder if maybe this dose of glycolic acid is just right for me. Like a little bit of foaming it into my skin just once a day in the evening, and then my other acids on top of that. I've really enjoyed how this product performs. It's a really thin soap, but it lathers up tremendously. So you only need the tiniest couple of drops from this, and then you get lots of good lather, but it's a rich, nice lather. It doesn't feel stripping, even though it's an acid cleanser. It doesn't feel stripping to me. And on the days when I use my Clarisonic, it works really well with my Clarisonic. I just feel like it's been helping my skin stay clear, and I have enjoyed using it as well. So the kitten's chasing a fly. This isn't skincare, but I just had to put it in here because it's my brow dye. My brow dye. I'm sorry I dyed my brows again and I didn't film it. I promise that I will film it next time. It was late at night. I felt I could not go another day without brows, and I was exhausted and I was in such a state. You wouldn't have wanted the video that I would have filmed of the time that I dyed my brows this past week. But this is what they look like. All I have in my brows right now is clear brow gel. That's it. When I used this week, I was just reminded of how huge the payoff is for the 20 minutes that it takes and the precision and effort that it takes to get the dye on. So I've just been really, really appreciating the fact that I've learned to dye my brows at home and the fact that this product works as well as it does, particularly this week, and I wanted to throw it into my favorites. And I also wanted to promise on camera that I'll film it next time so that I won't break my promise. It's the Godefroy Tint Kit, by the way. I bought it from Amazon, and I'll definitely link it down below. You probably saw this one coming, but this Kjaer Weis blush was my life for so many days this month. I enjoyed it so much. This is the color Precious. It's a cream blush, and I'm going to talk about this more in my Shop My Stash, which I still haven't filmed, the Shop My Stash where I review the products that I shopped my stash for, because this was one of them. I was just blown away by how much I loved it, and I will definitely put up in the cards a link to the video where I filmed myself applying this product. It's my fresh, natural, no foundation look. And so you can see how it performs, you can see how it looks, you can see how I applied it, and you can also hear me talking about it and why I love it. I used this blush almost every day this month. However, it is not the blush that I have on my face right now. And I realized that the blush I do have on my face right now also deserves to be included in my favorites, because suddenly over the past week or two, maybe even two, I've become possessed by the desire to wear this blush almost all the time. You know how it goes. Sometimes you just pick up a product you haven't picked up in a while and it gives you life, and then you use it and use it and use it. That's to me the meaning of a favorite from one's own collection. And this I had shopped my stash for intentionally because I had kind of stopped using it and I just had no idea how it performed. I didn't remember anything about it. I'd basically forgotten its existence in my collection. But this blush, the one that I'm wearing, isn't that way. It's one that I return to periodically, for sure, so much so that I've depotted it and put it into my Z palette. This is the blush right here. It's from Wet n Wild, and it's the one called Apricot in the Middle. So it's this apricot color, but it's really sheeny. It definitely has gold in it, and if you buff it and buff it into the skin, it performs quite like a blush highlight combo. It's like a highlighting blush, shimmery blush. And as you can tell, I'm highlighted the house down boots right now. So it's not just the blush that's making me shine. It's partly the fact that I'm sweating out of every pore, but it's also this highlight right here, which is ColourPop Here Kitty Kitty, which I like, but it didn't make it into my favorites this month. However, Wet n Wild Apricot in the Middle, absolutely I did. I just love the bronzy sheen. I love the fresh color, and it's sheer-ish. Like you can really get a good sheer wash of bronzy color, but you can also build it up, especially if you go in pretty hard with your brush. You can get a good dose of it. So I've just been loving, and deeply appreciating the Wet n Wild blush formula, especially Apricot in the Middle. It's been a true favorite in the second half of June. Another one of my favorites also comes from this little Z palette, and this is kind of a preview of my Shop My Stash because I have another receptacle for singles, and I just sat down the other night and kind of organized this little palette. A lot of the singles that I own are elsewhere, but I made this little palette because I wanted to shop my stash for my singles, and so I decided to shop my stash for this guy, but I'll talk more about it and I'll go through everything that's in here in my upcoming Shop My Stash, so keep an eye out for that. But the two shadows in here that were favorites this month are these two iridescent shadows from ColourPop. This one is Tea Garden, and this one right here is Glass Bowl, which is I know one of their kind of best-selling colors. So Tea Garden is like the greeny sheeny one, and Glass Bowl is like the purpley bluey sheeny one. I'm gonna try to swatch them not in the same place. So there's Glass Bowl and there's Tea Garden, and I'm getting truly extraordinary swatches right now because my arm and hand are damp with perspiration. That is the ticket. Tea Garden is what I have on my eyes right now on top of just a basic matte shadow look. So that kind of greeny, sheeny look. And the reason that these became favorites for me this month is that I had one of those breakthrough moments where I broke through my own makeup habits, basically as a result of my no-buy year, as a result of intensively using only the things that I have in my collection. And here's what the moment looked like. As you have probably been able to tell from the few tutorials that I've done, I'm a big fan of putting a light shimmery shadow from the inner corner to a third of the way or halfway across. Are you so hot? Yeah. So it's kind of like my default. I'll put some taupe shadow in the crease, I'll darken up the outer corner with a dark brown or a black, and then I'll put a bright, highlighty, shimmery shade on the inner third or the inner half of my lid to open and draw my eyes sort of up and apart and create just a more flattering eye shape. And I feel attached to having that inner corner, inner half of the lid shade be a pale shimmery color. So it's always like a white gold shift or a light pink shift or a lavender silver. It's always like these light, bright pastel colors. And one day I was doing my eyes for just a basic day, so I was not doing anything fancy. It was a very light look. I had put on the taupe shadow and I had darkened up the outer corner, and I was looking at my shadows and I was just like, oh, I'm so bored. I'm always doing the same thing over and over. And I reached for Tea Garden, the one I'm wearing now, and I remember hesitating right before I put my finger into it. I was like, but it's not very light. Like, what if it closes my eyes up, or what if it just muddies the look? I had that hesitation that comes from doing something that you haven't done before and your mind has kind of gotten set in a certain way. You've tricked yourself into believing that only that way works for you because you've been doing it this whole time. So I had the hesitation, and then I just went for it. I did it anyway, and I dabbed Tea Garden into that spot where it is now, inner corner, half of the lid. And it wasn't just that it looked lovely, it was that it was a different kind of lovely than I was used to. It still brightened up my eyes, but it also kind of brought out some color in my eyes and in my hair, and it brought something out that the other technique doesn't bring out. And then of course there are things that the other technique does that it didn't do, but I was so pleasantly surprised when I put it on. I was like, it looks pretty in another way, pretty in a new way, pretty in a different way. And I was so into it. I felt like it was a wall that went down. It was a barrier that dissolved. And I've been using Tea Garden and Glass Bull, which is kind of like its sister shadow. They perform very similarly, but they're in two different color groups. I've been using them both in that role all the time since that day, and really, really loving the diversity of eye looks that I'm able to get because I've been willing to try this new technique, try something new. Basically a way to use iridescent shadows for day, which is something that I never did before. I never really realized how they could be deployed kind of as a sheer wash of color, as something a little more casual. I always used to think of them as something reserved for strong evening looks or dramatic photo shoot types of looks, but they're not anymore. And my collection has just opened up a little bit further for me, shown itself to me a little bit more thoroughly, and I've been able to make myself more at home in my own collection than I was before. So these two shadows are a major favorite this month, especially Tea Garden for that reason. And finally, my last little favorite is kind of a whole category of things, and the category is My Lips But Better lip liner type products. I just had gone some months without remembering that one of my favorite things to do is to just use a lip liner that's pretty much the same color as my lips to slightly overline my lips and ever so slightly fill them in to give the illusion of a fuller lip. I just hadn't been doing that for ages and ages. My favorite one, unfortunately, is this Givenchy lip pencil in number 9. It was called Lip Brown when I purchased it, but I think that they have since renamed all of the lip liners in this line. But I think that Lip Brown was number 9 and that this color is still number 9. I don't know if it has a new name or not. But in any case, for me, for my lip color, which is quite dark, Givenchy Lip Brown is the perfect My Lips But Better overlining color. It sounds like the kitten is chewing on a cord. What are you doing? Yes, you are chewing on a cord. Bad cat. I also have this Wet n Wild liner in Bear to Comment. That's the color name. But I don't like it as much. I don't like the gel liner for the purpose that I'm describing, and I also don't like lip liners and eyeliners that roll up as much as I do like ones that sharpen. And I know that's not the most popular opinion, but I love wooden pencils that sharpen. I love being able to get that super sharp point whenever I want it, and I love the smell of a freshly sharpened pencil. So everything about the wooden pencils works better for me, both for eyes and lips. I've learned that that's strongly my preference. So I don't reach for that Wet n Wild one as often. I like both the color and the format of this Givenchy one better. And then when I ordered the replacements of my Luna oil and my UFO oil, one of the point perks that came in that order was this little Makeup Forever pencil. It's the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. So this is either a repackage or a new product, but you've been seeing all the beauty gurus with their PR packages of like the whole roll of every single color. And the idea is that it's a multi-purpose pencil. So you can just pick whichever color you want and use it for whichever purpose you want. So the color that came as a point perk is 606 Wherever Walnut, and it's really pretty similar to the Givenchy one. So So on the top there is the Givenchy number 9, and on the bottom there is Makeup Forever Wherever Walnut. And the Givenchy is just slightly more yellow. It's a yellower color, and so it gives me a more nude. The kitten was crying for attention, so I gave him to Joe in the other room. The Givenchy pencil that I love so much just gives me ever so slightly more of that nude lip look. Like it's a little bit more of a 60s kind of look because the undertone is more yellow. The Makeup Forever pencil, it's what I'm wearing right now. So you can see it's just a little bit more color, a little bit more my lips. It's actually closer, it's a closer match for the actual shade of my actual lips even than the Givenchy pencil. But I love the look of both of them. I'm wearing a tiny dab of the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb over top of the Makeup Forever lip pencil right now, by the way. But it's not about the products themselves, it's about the idea of grabbing a lip liner that's very close to my actual lip color and using it to fill out the shape of my lips ever so slightly. I've just been really, really pleased with that effect lately, and so all of those products in my collection that can fill that role count as favorites for me this month. Last month. I know I'm making this in July, but it's June favorites. That is it. That is the handful of products that I have really been loving this past month. They are all from my collection, and they are all things that I liked before but didn't necessarily love or didn't necessarily appreciate as much as I appreciate them now. And the wonderful thing is that I've gotten to know them better, I've gotten to use them more, and I'm sure that this month they will be replaced by some new favorites. But all of those new favorites will be things that are currently hiding in my collection. I don't know what they'll be yet. I don't know what will emerge from my collection as my favorites in July, and I can't wait to find out. Thank you so much for watching this sweaty, distracted, kitteny video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll remember to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.